Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Eugene today in Oregon with Tony. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Lilou. Good to be here.
Good to be here too in this beautiful scenery. How beautiful is that? We have the river flowing like life should flow.
Wonderful place to be.
Yes. So you're an author, you're a speaker, you travel the world to inspire people to manifest greater and bigger for the greatest good of all, don't you?
Exactly. I'm part of a group called the Intenders of the Highest Good. And there are intender circles all over the world now. And basically we just sit in a circle and put intentions and gratitudes in the circle, and they have been manifesting like crazy for us. So we just kept doing it. It started 17 years ago for us, Lilou, back on the big island of Hawaii.
Nice.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And the four of us just got together one night. My girlfriend at the time, her name was Betsy, and our two friends, Mark and Tina. And we were just wanting to help each other in any way we could, in any way in our lives. And we ran across the word intention, and we went and looked it up in the dictionary, and it said that an intention was a moving toward. So we realized if we're making an intention, we're moving toward that which we desire. And so I can't really tell you how it happened. We were just four country people who were just wanting to help each other, but we started putting intentions in this circle of four on Betsy's back porch, and lo and behold, they started coming into life for us. They started manifesting, and so we kept doing this week after week. Every Sunday evening we would get together and put intentions in the circle, and then after a while we started putting gratitudes in the circle too, because we were gratitude was the acknowledgement that the intention we had made the week or two before had manifested for us. So sure enough, we're putting the intentions and gratitudes in the circle, and a few more friends found out about it, and they joined us. And at the end of the year, there were 9 of us who were meeting every Sunday night to put intentions in our intender circle. And then one night, 35 people showed up. And we just didn't know quite what to do, but we crowded everybody in, and fortunately everybody brought a lot of food, and because we always have a potluck before we start the circles.
Nice.
And we just, somebody who was in that circle of 35 that night took it over to the Kona side of the Big Island, and somebody from there then took it over to Petaluma, California in the Bay Area. And then within about a few months, I went over to the Bay Area and started giving mini workshops, and did that for about a year, and within a year there were 17 intender circles in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it flashed across the country from there.
How exciting.
And the four of us who started this are as in awe of what happened as anyone, because we were just 4 friends wanting to help each other.
Very, very inspiring. So what happens actually, how much does it amplify the manifestation when people come together in circle?
Oh, considerably. When you can get other people to align with your intentions, it magnifies and multiplies everything 100-fold. Because that's the key. If you've got to bring that highest good factor in at that point, because it's real easy to align with other people when they're making intentions. If they're going to say that in order for their intentions to manifest, that they must serve the highest and best good of the universe, ourselves, and everyone everywhere. And so that's why we call ourselves the intenders of the highest good. And we always put that clause in our intentions. We always say that in order for them to manifest, they must serve the highest and best good of the universe, ourselves, and everyone concerned. And so that being the case, then you don't have to be worried about if this person is going to be skeptical or this person's going to sabotage your intentions or anything like that, because we're all lined up with the highest good. And if an intention isn't for the highest good, it's just not going to manifest. Aha! See, that's a good thing.
So is there a particular ritual or process that you recommend? Does it become more of a ceremony or step by step, or is it something that naturally really takes place?
It's a good question. It's each circle can set up their own format, and we give you guidelines of how to do it. An 8-step format that starts out with a potluck and a blessing of the food and a short guided meditation, 5 minutes or so, just to center everybody, and then a little explanation of what's going on to the newcomers who come, and then just the intentions and gratitudes. And then when we're finished, we tone. We all hold hands in a circle and tone, and toning creates oneness. So if you're just making a sound, any sound, love, any sound, And when you get anybody or a group of people all doing this sound at the same time, it gels into a oneness. And so when we realized that was going on, why, we just wanted more and more of the oneness. And so there is this little format that people can follow, but they need not do that. The main thing is to put intentions in the circle and be open to receive from both expected and unexpected sources from that point on, because things are going to manifest for you.
You got to be ready for that.
Yeah, it multiplies everything. When you get more people involved, and if you just think about it, if you can get a whole bunch of other people envisioning your intentions manifest, that just throws everything up a notch.
What are the common mistakes you find for people wanting to manifest what they want or their dreams, and it's just not happening?
Sometimes they're impatient. There's a yet factor, Lilou. Just because your intention hasn't manifested yet doesn't mean it's not going to manifest.
Or it doesn't mean it's not in the process.
That's right. So some people are just impatient. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So they just need to wait a little bit longer till everything works its way into place. Another thing is the highest good factor. Sometimes things are just not for our highest good. And we're intending that new such and such a thing, but that isn't what we're supposed to have. And the universe knows better for me than I know for myself. And I've come to learn that over a period of time. And then there's always the third factor that seems to interfere with the manifestation of intentions, is what we call doubt. And doubt is an interesting subject. Doubts are thoughts too. They're just like any other thought that you'd put your attention on. They're working their way toward the surface of our experience. And you know the doubts. The doubts are, I can't afford it. I can't have it. Those they don't make those things that I'm wanting anymore. They're not available anymore. And on and on and on. The doubts are very creative. And what we're learning now is that is just to go back to the original intention and trust. Trust is the antidote to doubt. And just trust that the universe has got it waiting for you. And when we first started, we had a couple of reference points that we started with the intenders with. And the first reference point is the one that's become famous since then. This was 17 years ago, long before The Secret, that came along. And our first reference point was that our thoughts create our world. And a lot of different ways to say it. Our thoughts create our reality. Our thoughts create our future. Our thoughts create our experiences. Any way you look at it, our thoughts are creating everything. And so it's just wise for us to hold our attention on the thoughts that serve us and discard the thoughts, the doubts that don't, you see. So that's basically what I'm doing with myself nowadays, is I'm watching very closely. I'm watching all my thoughts very closely and just asking myself, is this thought that I'm thinking right now, is it likely to give me the results I'm looking for? And if it is, I'm going to run with it. And if it isn't, I'm going to get rid of it and go on to something that is going to bring me what it is I'm intending to have, you see.
Yeah, because those doubts are there, and we have those challenges, and there is, I guess, do you find out that there's a healing process, or there's something so that we welcome more greatness in our life? Because sometimes a lot of us on this planet have this unworthiness factor that prevents us from naturally bringing in our divinity and all the wonderful things that we can naturally attract.
I don't call it so much a healing factor, Lilou, as I call it an empowering factor. And because what I'm seeing as I go from intender circle to intender circle is people who've made an intention, and they come and they've got the doubts and they're skeptical and they're not sure, but we say, well, just test it. Just give it a chance. And they'll come back to the circle a couple weeks later and it will have manifested, and now they've seen some results from it. So, and that's empowering. And a person does that again. And as a matter of fact, we found over a period of time that there's like a 6-step formula that we go through on the way to achieving our empowerment. And the first one is just to test it. You just make an intention, and you'll see that if it works for the highest good, it'll manifest for you. And then you test it again, and you'll get another win, and you'll test it again, and you start to build up, get to the second stage of this progression of power, which is called trust. And you start to trust in it, and you see it working for you, which takes you to the third stage, which is confidence, and you start to get confident with it. Oh boy, now I'm going to really use this process, and I'm going to get up every morning, and I'm going to make my intentions because this is working for me. And then that takes you to the fourth step, which is a big leap, actually, and it's called knowing. And You get to a point where you just know that your intentions are going to manifest for you. You know. And so that takes you to the fifth step, which is courage. And now you use this process, this law of attraction or the intention process or whatever you want to call it. You use it courageously. You're not going to worry about, well, what are they going to say if they find out I'm getting empowered? Who cares? You just use it because you want to get the things that you want to come into your life. Our desires were put in us to be fulfilled. So this is how you do it. You get good at using this intention process or the law of attraction, using it in a right way. And that takes you, the courage after that takes you to the sixth step, the final step in the progression of power, and that's fortitude. And you become like a rock, like the castle atop the mountain, the impenetrable fortress, and you're master over all you survey, able to manifest at will. And every one of us, and everyone out there watching this video, is in one of those 6 stages, working their way to the top of the mountain. So, and we've seen this happen over and over in our intender circles. We see people coming and they're just a little bit mousy and they don't know what to do. We've had people who didn't make intentions the first time, but they came back and brought their family the second time because they saw it was working for everybody else even. So it's you start by testing. Yeah. Give it a chance.
Tell us about segment intending, or really specifically intending things within the bigger intention. Is that possible? Like every day for smaller things, for smaller sessions, or meetings, or dinners, or friendships?
All of it. In fact, since there's no rules on what you can think, there's no rules on what you can intend. So we say intend for the small things and intend for the big things. Do them all. Do the intend a new refrigerator on one hand and intend world peace on the other. There's no rules. You can think what you want, you can intend what you want. And here we are on planet Earth at this time to bring in a new world, to usher in a golden age of manifestation for all of humanity. And this is the lifetime where we're going to do it. So we can't be holding back and dumbing down and staying out of our power. We've got to step into our power, and we've got to be manifesting those world pieces and the compassion and a better world for all of us to live in.
So what's the formula? Is there a specific vocabulary or sentence that we should say?
I intend that I am happy, healthy, the owner of a new Toyota. It doesn't matter. I intend that I am always works. You cannot go wrong by saying I intend that I am whatever it is you're looking for. And I get up every morning.
For the highest good.
And then when you finish, you just put that highest good clause on. Go say all your intentions, say your gratitudes too. Because if I've intended a new wheelbarrow last week and it's here this week, it came to me because somebody just brought it up the driveway and I don't know how it got there, I'm going to express my gratitude for that as well. So gratitude is a big key. Gratitude is all important in this process because it shows that the intention process having come full circle. It started out with an intention, and then you see the manifestation of it, and then you express your gratitude for it. And that shows the other people in the circle that it's working too, and all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of people in your circle getting empowered. Oh boy.
Do you think that's through that, to that sense of community and getting together, that we're really going to change the world? That the world is going to shift?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is our time. This is, out of all of the lifetimes and dimensions and scenarios and incarnations we could have chose to come into, this is the one. This is the one where everything is happening. And we are here, as I said earlier, to be ushers for a golden age, a brand new, a new way of life on planet Earth. And people ask me that question a lot, and is it possible? Yes, it is possible. It is happening, and it's happening because you can feel it already. There's an acceleration. There's a speeding up, and one of the attributes of that acceleration that we're all feeling is that the time between the time you make an intention and it manifests is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and what's going on is that soon you will have a thought and it will be there. And that these times we're living right now, we've still got a little buffer zone, a little lag time. Good thing, So but the time is coming when you will have that thought and it will be there. And so it's just wise for us to hold our attentions on the thought that serve us and discard the ones that don't.
Mm. It's incredible to see also the how much can manifest that is way beyond our imagination and our dreams.
Yeah.
How do you explain that from an intending factor?
Well, from an intending factor, I say that there are no limitations, none whatsoever. I mean, even in this reality, because this reality is but one reality out of an infinite number of realities that we can choose to put our attention on. And we've just bought into the limitations of this particular reality. We've stepped off the throne of our own power, literally, because we bought into the ideas that we were taught when we were little children here, that were given to us by those who had other agendas of their own. But those days are going away now, Lilou, and we are stepping into our power en masse. I've seen it in these circles so many times that people have a feeling, there's an undercurrent of a feeling that something wonderful, something magical is happening nowadays. And what it is that there's literally a new world in the making, and it's me and you are making it.
But would you say that we really need to focus and intend all those smaller things, knowing though that the universe is infinitely intelligent and knows probably even better what we can be fulfilled by? That's sometimes the paradox, or not the paradox, but the dynamic that is a little bit...
Sure.
The more we seem to get in the manifestation process and discover that, the more we're more becoming a spectator and just opening the arms and willing to receive all the greatest and the best without really even knowing what that can look like, but the universe seems to know. So it is a, what do you think of that? Because sometimes we manifest so big and so joyfully, and it's so fulfilling that it seems the more I go personally into the process, the more I'm just bring it on, whatever that looks like.
Right. Be open. That's what we say. We say be open to receive from both expected and unexpected sources. And when that starts to happen, then anything in your wildest dreams, anything in your wildest imagination can come to you. And as long as we set the where and the how and the whens aside, because we don't know how something's coming to us, or we don't know when, we just know that it is. And so I always recommend to people to start with the small things and see the small things manifest, and then work your way up. In other words, we start with the refrigerators and
the parking spots,
the parking spots, and finding the car keys and all those kind of things, and then go from there. What we did in the intenders is we started with those, and then we went to the inner qualities. I intend I'm more patient, more compassionate, more loving, more kind, and so forth. And then we went from there to the worldly stuff. Yeah. And nowadays we just tell people, just do it all. You can. And one of the things we found out is that those who get up in the morning and set a direction unto their day by saying an intention or an affirmation or prayer, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter what you call it, that they have an entirely different experience than those who do not. Everything comes to them. Life is easier for them. They get the things they want. They get those big things you're talking about, and so we say don't hold back. We've just been we have been dealing with self-worth issues, and we have been dealing with a certain dumbing down, and we have really, there was an old Desmond Tutu, Marianne Williamson quote, had something to do with how we really should step into the fullness of our being. And truly, that's what these intenders are for. These intender circles are for. They're to help people realize that, hey, you are a conscious co-creator. You can step into your power, and you have to start somewhere. So start with the parking places, but don't limit the world peace, because it's a coming.
I love really the getting together. I think it's such a powerful method. It's really brilliant to see other people manifesting, because you are in that space of gratitude. I guess people share their manifestation, and you must have heard amazing manifestation story, which then in returns increases your vibration and brings even more juiciness to life. The stories Angela was just telling me about a story that and I'll tell it quickly. I was in Mount Shasta a while back, and
just there to give be in an intender circle, and we did that in a bookstore in Mount Shasta. And afterwards, we decided to stay a while and camp. So, but we couldn't find a camping spot because this was in August, and there were no places available. It was the height of the tourist season, so we found the last camping spot in the campground 8 miles out of Shasta town, on Fowler's Campground there. It was the last spot, and the only drawback to Fowler's Campground was that there are no showers there. So everybody would bathe by going down to the river, the Sacramento River, which is the source that comes out of Shasta there. And they would have, you'd see them lined along the river in the morning with a bucket or a cup or something like that, and crouched down with their swimming suit on, just pouring it over, and cussing and hopping and muttering because the water is ice cold there. And me, I'm a Hawaii boy. I'm used to warm water. So sure enough, I'd been there about 4 days and was sitting around in the afternoon with a group of people, strangers, just getting to know, drinking sodas and stuff, and meeting people from across the country with these 2 picnic tables butted up against each other. And the camp manager had a thermometer on his shack, and it was the hottest day on record there at that time. It said it was 108 degrees, and we were all just sweating profusely. And what with the bathing arrangements the way they were, why everybody would have liked to have some sort of shower or something. And I just intended it. I just said, I intend that I have a hot shower now and I get clean. And they all looked at me like I was crazy, because there weren't any showers anywhere nearby. We would have had to drive 8 miles to a motel room. There weren't any motel rooms. So just sort of let it go. And 10 minutes later, a deer came scampering through the campground.
Yeah.
And I'm, again, a Hawaii boy. There are no deer in Hawaii. I'd never seen a deer before. And I go up and I get running to catch this deer, and all I saw was this little white tail bound in the brush. And so this tail, and that was my whole quick view of the deer. And I found myself in a clearing about 15 feet away from the people who were sitting at the picnic tables. And in this clearing was a single tree about this big around. And on the backside of the tree was a broken off branch, a foot and a half long up there. And hanging on that branch was one of those black plastic solar shower bags left there by a previous camper. And long story short, by sunset, anybody who wanted it had a hot shower, and they weren't looking at me like I was so crazy anymore. So you can intend anything, anywhere, anytime.
Very good and clear example. That is awesome. Very juicy. Bring on the juice. Thank you, Tony, for this amazing moment. Thank you.
My pleasure, Lilou. My pleasure. I'm so happy.
These are real stories happening every day.
Every day, and people are opening up to the miracles of life nowadays. And there really are no limitations on what you can think, so there's no limitations on what you can intend. So we just say go for it.
Go for it! Let's do it!
Absolutely.
I'm very inspired. Thank you, Tony.
Pleasure.
Much love, my beautiful co-creators from beautiful Oregon. And if you want to continue to support the Juicy Living Tour, don't forget that it's on donations. So all your donations are more than welcome.
Right, and
we're intending huge national, international support.
Absolutely. And I'm at intenders.com.
Intenders.com. That'll be mentioned on the website,
okay.
on the video. Much love.
Much love.